Hi, everybody. Give me a second. I kind of went and jumped the gun, and I have to get on Rumble and Instagram. So let me do that and LinkedIn. They are so stupid. So today, I had some commercials that I could be doing, but give me a second. Get back on Matchmaker and make some more virtual studios. Give me just a second. So I am going to get on to give me just a second, you guys. I have to get on Rumble and Instagram. Yay, I'm on all my platforms. Let's start from the top. We shall start from the top. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Kimberly Cloud Show. I'm your host, Kimberly Cloud. Today, I chose to get on one of my platforms to do some things, and that is to do a commercial in the middle of the 15-minute mark to go onto Matchmaker FM and do look and gather some people. But before I go on a Matchmaker, I'm gonna do it by um, category and seniority. Um, I want to make sure that I do a banner and a virtual studio for the person that is coming to my show on Friday. So we're going to do that first. Give me just a second. Hold on. What time is? Oh, that felt good. Um, Okay, let me include you guys. So we got, I think I've interviewed or I've seen his stuff before. Okay. This is a dangerous game, man, because if you pick the wrong person, they could give you some stuff attached with a virus, or if they have viruses on their computer, it may can, get on your computer. Who knows? It could be stuff out there like that. You never know what the dark web would carry. It's stuff new coming out every day. 2,100 episodes. Wow. 1 million listens in over 180 countries. That's impressive. Some people find rock bottom. I found out rock bottom had a basement. So in my mid 20s, I had it all, a beautiful girlfriend, high paying job, sports car, my dream body. But I still ended up sitting on the edge of bed debating suicide. Wow. You see what I'm saying? Um, that's very serious, man. Just because you have it all, I want to read the rest before I say anything. After my rock bottom moment, I went into holistic self improvement and all in on holistic self improvement. I was determined to overcome my anxiety, depression, and finally the life I always dreamed of. Years later, I host a podcast that's impacting hundreds of thousands of people in countries all over the world. At this stage, I helped grow a podcast into a multi six-figure business, and I recorded over 1,650 episodes. I've also given hundreds of speeches, trainings, and coaching calls with people all over the world. What does that sound? Give me a second. Really? You gonna play that? Apple Music playing my music. They playing Daryl Hall notes on they playing Daryl Hall notes on TikTok, my music. I was wondering what was going on. I was listening. I was like, what is that sound? Sometimes they'll play my music while on there. I also given hundreds of speeches, trainings, and coaching calls with people all over the world. The main thing that changed was me. I focused on learning what I did not know. I'm learning a lot too, and my life started this shift. I love talking about consistency, commitment, habits, mindsets, confidence, fear, relationships, limit, benefits, and everything in between. I believe in a heart-driven, no BS approach to holistic self-improvement, and I look forward to teaching even more people about what it really takes to get to the next level. Give me a second. I'm just gonna do this in Matchmaker. What am I looking like right here?
Thank you for making Awoken an international best-selling book. I had enough money to hire that famous TikTok voice guy to promote my book. So click the link below and buy Awoken. Gallade needs the money. I don't work cheap.
Go back. I remember y'all, while I'm doing this, I used to have to walk like at least a good 3 miles, 3 miles to a shuttle, a shuttle. Oh, that's wrong. A shuttle. to take me to my college because I used to do, you know, studies at Baltimore City Community College, and rain, sleet, snow, I would be out there catching a bus. I would fall asleep on a bus. I would go by subway first. I would get there early, go by subway, and get me an egg. I forgot the already made egg that they heat up with cheese and spinach and stuff of that nature. And yeah, I would walk 3 miles. And then when I got to tell y'all this story. Um, Let me take the background out. So let me make sure. I My first apartment in a while was in Baltimore, Maryland, because they have a rat problem in Baltimore, Maryland. A big, huge rat problem. I don't know if they done gotten it taken care of, but even in the most beautiful houses, you know, like even on Bad Boys, the movie, they show rats downstairs eating the money. You know, if you have a rat problem somewhere, there would be like rats everywhere. And so I got my first apartment, and let me make sure. I was going to Baltimore City Community College, and I got my first apartment in a while. And so I I end up, I don't want to make a joke about it. I ended up encountering a mouse, rat, whatever you want to call it, problem. And I talked to the landlord about it. And the landlord, this was right up the street from where the Mondawmin Mall riot happened. It was all national news. It was national news. Um, so um, Madame had I was right up the street from it, and they looted the mall. One mother had beat her child to go all the way home, to go home, because they were fighting with the police, and the only thing the police can do to those teenagers is gas them and arrest them, some of them, the really hard ones. But a lot of them went into the stores and oh, fiddlesticks. I did it again. They went into the store and they looted, and it was all on the news. Helicopters, because it stayed with helicopters in Baltimore City, you know. And like I always, my heart lies in Maryland. Like I always say, you know, Bernie Sanders came to Baltimore, and he sat up there and, oh, this is looks like a third world country. You know it looked like a third world country. You didn't get briefed on it, a briefing before. You know, you made it sound really, really good on camera that you cared about us. And, you know, you didn't care. You didn't care at all. You just cared about looking good on TV because nothing happened. Nothing happened. People are struggling. People are trying to get out of poverty there. Some people don't want to be in poverty. Some people don't want to be in poverty. Some people settle for poverty for like 40, 50 years, you know, and some people want poverty life to have their business in doing drugs, selling drugs. They don't think they can do anything better when they can. They're all categorized in different ways. I wanted to get out of poverty. I have big goals and big dreams. I don't even want to tell the story, but it was on the news. They were talking about how downtown it's a spot that everybody goes to, and it's a drug infested problem down there too. I forgot what it's called, um, but they used to go downtown. They sell cakes and different types of food. It's like a market, and you go there, and the rats are eating the food. Now, this is a public place where people are baking cakes and baking authentic food, and they come to their store, and there's a rat in there, or there's a piece of feces in there from the rat, in droppings and biting. That's how bad it is in the heart of Baltimore with the rat problem. If you lived in a certain surrounding area around Baltimore, you're going to get rats in your house. You're going to have rats in your house. Period. Like Glen Burnie, it's fine. Um, where did I live? I didn't forgot where it was called, but near Glen Burnie. I started moving out more and more of the city life, and I would work in the city. It's a third world country there. They got housing that is up, that people live in, that is condemned. People live and do drugs there. There's abandoned buildings, lots and lots of abandoned buildings. People are killing each other, rapists, murderers, repeat murderers, repeat rapists, repeat drug offenders, overdosing. People are overdosing off of methamphetamine or fentanyl. They're standing in the streets of Pennsylvania Avenue. I think that's what it's called in Baltimore, Pennsylvania Avenue, and they're leaning over, like halfway asleep, halfway up, and they never seem to fall. They never seem to fall. I used to be a drug counselor. For 50 people a month, I would counsel 50 people. That was hard to do. I would struggle with that, I'll admit. And they would never seem to fall. It just seems like it's just so weird. You know, I wanted to go over and tip them over. That's called cow tipping, like, and say some crap like that. Like, I wanted to tip them over so bad. Sort of like that hot tub time machine when the guy's arm was destined to be cut off, and you're just watching, and you can't see. You can see that it's about to happen, and it don't happen. It's just, I'm just joking. I didn't want to tip them over. Like my immature mind probably did back in the day, but I say we need to get them in drug rehabilitation. We need to get them in drug rehabilitation. Here is the link to. Everybody around me was dying, y'all. Everybody. They would go back to the same drug, and like it was dying every 3 to 6 months. They'd be like, oh, he got caught with fentanyl. Oh, he didn't get caught with fentanyl. He used fentanyl and overdose. And it was a lot of old people going back to that. That's how scary it is. Whatever they're putting in it makes people not only addicted, but something they do makes it beyond addicting, where whatever drugs is in it, you're susceptible to keep thinking about that drug, even when off the drug, and you come back to that drug. That's the scary part. You can be off of it for 10 whole years and get right back on it. I am so thankful that I was not addicted to any hardcore drugs like that. I'll end it there and won't go into no more detail, because I said that in a way that was very mature. I did have a drug problem. I have used hardcore drugs, but that's what I didn't want to say, because I'm trying to make this a PG show. But I never went back. That door is locked. That door is the key. I don't even know where the key is. I don't even know how to, and I don't want to know. I don't want to start. I don't want to make a plan to start going downtown or wherever I think it shall be, and searching for that shit. That shit is not for me. You can die. You can die. And I care more about my life, and I care more about my life than something, a devil's drug. A devil's drug. That's a devil's drug. I believe in reincarnation, though. What else I'm gonna do? Do commercial. I'm thinking Matchmaker FM, and I also believe that. Give me a second, y'all. That you can actually, just like being possessed. Possession is nothing but a spirit attached to your spirit. I think and energy never dies. Our energy comes from somewhere else, from another distant past, whether it be 100 years, a century, a millennium, or whatever. And just think how many people or how many spirits we done came across. And it said it in the Bible. It said it in the Bible that fallen angels could be sometimes mentioned as fallen spirits. The only way we will get to see our spirit is through an MRI. The doctors get to see it. The doctors get to see our capillaries or whatever is in our body light up when they do something for us to get us into that MRI. But they can see, I guess the veins, you call it, or the nervous system. Certain things can see the nervous system light up, the brain and the nerves light up. That is our soul. And once that, whether the heart or the brain stop working, that activity cease to exist in the body. That's our electricity, or electro waves, or whatever you want to call it. I can't define it, but you know that is our soul. that electro, whatever they get to see, which I give it to them, you know, they get to see it, is our souls in our bodies. And fallen spirits, I was so amazed by that when I read that about that. It's crazy, man. Demons, fallen angels, fallen spirits. You know, I was reading about it yesterday. When that electrics, when that electricity, let's finish. When that electricity stopped working, um, their body no longer ceased to exist, and that's why it's called a vessel. And I always wonder, where does the actual spirit goes? Because Nikola Tesla said there's electricity all around us, and you can make towers off of that. And now Donald Trump is building, getting contracts to uh, build more electrical power grids, or whatever he's supposed to be, technological power grids. Um, where does, because static is causes electricity, it's all around us, you know, it is all around us. Small minutes or great minutes of electrical currents, static, and it's all around us. Okay, so I did that matchmaker. Hey, Kimberly, my name is Dresco, and I host the Joyous Profit Live Coaching Podcast. My show is different in that I don't interview guests on their expertise. Instead, I coach established business owners how their stress is negatively impacting their productivity. Oh, okay. Dang, what I would pay for this type of thing. That is so neatly done. I'm gonna keep this up. That is such a nice page. I am so honored that he chose me. I gotta keep up with, like, yeah. I gotta read this more carefully. Okay, so I sent him that, and that is about it for now. I am going to be doing a segment about Trump uh, the next time. I know I didn't get an email saying that I got a response from my teacher. So I'm like, since I didn't get a response from her, I'm like, okay, I'll wait until I get the grade and then get back on. Probably tomorrow I will get back on or later on today, but the next segment is going to be about Donald Trump. But yeah. Um, what is another thing about Baltimore that I can tell y'all that happened to me? I remember I was doing volunteer work because I used to volunteer for healthcare for the homeless in our daily bread. And I was sitting with the women and I had to go to the bathroom. And so I went into the bathroom and I had a cheap phone. I didn't have an Apple iPhone, it was an Android. It was one of them push up and push down. You can push up and type. And I left it in the bathroom. And this homeless lady puts it in some tissue, some paper towels in the crack of her butt. And the only reason I know she did that, and thank God I didn't have it on silent, was that I got a security guard and then I had someone call it and it went off directly on her and it was very loud. And he said, "Come on, ma'am, give it back." And I'm like, "That's all you gonna say?" Dude, she tried to take my phone and put it in her butt crack. What is going on? Like, you didn't need that phone. You had she was waving saying she had her own phone. You know, you didn't need the phone, but you took it. You took it because you knew you could possibly get away with taking it. That's where stealing gets tricky. I will forgive somebody that have to steal, that don't have money to get deodorant, food, over someone who literally takes something just because they think they can get away with it. Some people need food. I never, thank God, I've never had to steal. It is almost and came close to it, but I've never had went to a store to steal food. Once I got caught at the age of 16, 17, stealing some CDs, I never did it again. I learned my lesson. I had to pay restitution. I didn't need that. God was talking to me. I didn't need that. I wanted them. I was getting CDs 99 cents for 10 CDs. Remember that program, that 99 cents for 10 CDs? I used to get that. But I got persuaded by somebody say, you won't get caught. So I'm thinking I won't get caught. Every time I do something bad, every time, if it's bad, I get caught. And that's why I tried to be on a straight and narrow. I'm not perfect. And like Putin said, those who are without sin, please cast the first stone. I've interviewed people with HIV. I've interviewed people who seen spirits. I've interviewed people who've seen aliens. I've interviewed people who claim to be a psychic medium, claim to be a hypnotherapist. I've interviewed a lot of people. I don't judge them. I've interviewed people who've been molested. It is sad. Even in a perfect world, I just talked about the guy that I am going to interview tomorrow. He had it all and he wanted to commit suicide. Self-actualization is something that can be reached, and I done proved it. I done proved it. Self-actualization is something that can be reached without a lot of money. But it's a practice thing. Basic needs, without you, I didn't have the basic needs. I didn't have stability. Every so often, my life goes downhill. I wonder, and I can't prove it, how the Democrats played a role in this. To every Republican that announced and hashtagged the White House, or even beyond that, I do blame them. If it wasn't for the drugs being out there in the street, I would not have been on drugs. I wouldn't have been nice and docile while the president after Democrat president get into office. Had I been awoke, this game would have been over. I would have been in school. I would have had my own place. I would have really, it was timing too. They kept drugs out on the street. And that's why I think there should be a drought. I know there should be a drought. No fucking thinking about that. It needs to be a drought. If it's not marijuana, everything else should be illegal. I don't think we should be harsh on the people that's using drugs because it's not their fault. They just got persuaded into using something, or they decided to use it. They have a brain imbalance. They're the victims. Operation keep them nice and docile while the world moves on, time passes, and the only thing they can think about is the next fentanyl or methamphetamine hit. Well, statistics show that people get violent with those drugs. People get violent with alcohol too, but no time soon will alcohol be uh, off the shelves. It needs to be a drought. I'm sorry for I know I'm getting a lot of people mad that's on fentanyl. Now, this is for your own good, man. This is for your own good. You want to live, right? You your the way you think is so negative. You like nothing good never happens to me. I'm not worth it. All these negative thoughts, turn them into positive thoughts. Get around positive people. Your environment plays a role in how you will succeed. Like one counselor told me, write down your negative thoughts. Write down your negative thoughts. Change them by turning them into positive thoughts. But one thing I will say, and for those who listen up, it is hard to give somebody credit where credit is due. It is hard for certain people to give me credit where credit is due. It's hard for it to roll off their lips. So I only imagine for those who really want like a dog or a dog, a puppy. I really want to know, what they do for everything else. Like I'm calling out on you like a puppy to sit up there and give me, natural, praise. And it's like certain people can't do it. And it happens not only to me, but other people. And we need to stop being like that. We need to give each other praise. That goes a long way. That can keep a person from killing themselves. You teach that to your child. Do you know how far that child can go? And that is where I'm going to, and I want y'all to think long and hard about that, especially us women. Give credit where credit is due. Don't keep your feelings inside because you don't want that person to advance. Do you not know how hard it is for, I'll end there. I'm going to end there. It's just, I noticed that. I noticed that. But I have some good ones, some real good ones, good women that is very open and feel the same exact way that I do. Even in their memes, I research. If you're on my Facebook friend list and your name populate, I don't just scroll up. I look. I look. If it's interesting, if it's worth watching, I will look and I will like it. I just don't like people's stuff to get likes. I really research it, and I think y'all should do the same. And I think that certain people should stop. Like for instance, that going cousin wrote me. I was like, wow, he hasn't wrote me at all, at all. And he wrote me because he gave me my props on graduating with my master's, and I was like, whoa, he did that. I was so happy. you know um and I'm going to put the credit where the credit due and like some of his stuff. But all my life, I never been given credit where credit is due. It brought out a demon in me because the only way I seemed like I got attention if I was evil, rebelled. And I still was a good person, a white light. I still was a white light, but there was something that definitely wasn't right. And I pray all the time that I pray, I pray to God. Nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect. If you come knock on my door and say, I'm perfect, I'm gonna be like, how did you find my address, number one? And I'm gonna be like, number two, how do you say you're perfect when you illegally looked me up? Number two, you're doing illegal stuff to find me. So I truly feel like the the only thing people do is try to get a rouse out of people. I watched the committee teams, with Pam Bondi and the rest of them. I don't know all their names by heart like that. But Pam Bondi was being grilled by a bunch of people on a committee team. And what they do, Mark Rubio was one of them too. Um, Robert Kennedy, they grill them and they interrogate them. And I don't think that's right. I don't think it's right at all. You can ask a person a question without trying to hit a nerve. When you're trying to hit a nerve, you're putting them under scrutiny and pressure. You're putting them under severe pressure. But they were trained for that. And that's why they're all in their places. Mark Rubio tore the frame out of one committee person member. He tore the frame. They said, "You are not doing a good job." People like you say I'm not doing a good job, which makes me believe I am doing a good job. And that lets me know I am doing a good job. He said something like that. And I said, my mouth just dropped. I said, wow, that is amazing. He had to come back like that. When somebody do something to me, I just be nice. And then I think about what I have to say and I say it without being rude. I used to be rude and I say it without being rude. And I'll say this last thing. There was a guy that I interviewed. I interviewed him and he requested to me. I don't request for people to be friends with me. I leave it up to them, but he sat up there and I put something about Trump and he sat up there and said, "When's Trump going to jail?" I said to myself, I said I wouldn't want him to go to jail. I think that Trump's a good person. So then I sat up there and I reported it because it's harassment. I reported it and I blocked him. And then I talked about it. I didn't sit up there and go on his page and say, "Oh, you, you know, I didn't do none of that. I didn't do none of that. I just said, what will happen if, I don't, it didn't get to me, but I don't want stuff like that on my page unless I have multiple people saying, stuff, like once, you know, the the floodgates open and I get multiple people saying stuff, good things, bad things, mediocre things, I'll sit up there and let it go, because I know there's some good people. I'd rather listen to the good people than the bad people. But to hear him say, "When's Trump going to jail?" I'm like, wow, it is freedom of speech, but it's harassment. Why say something like that? If you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say it at all. Don't say it at all. Why do people stand behind their computers and phones and sit up there and talk junk? I've said some stuff. I'm not, like I said, I'm not perfect. I've said some stuff and I've done some stuff, you know, but I go to truthful places where I add my 2 cents. Like when they said Jasmine Crockett had her seat taken away. You know, here's a lady who went to private school talking like she's from the ghetto and she's hood. Tell her to go to Philly, Minneapolis, Chicago. I've never been there, but the other two places I have, DC, without a guard. Drive. Go to a gasoline station that have spray paint painted, and you have to wait for the clerk to open the door for you. And people looking at you like, come on, man. Jasmine Crockett, you couldn't do none of that. Even Seattle. I don't even go downtown no more, but it's not that bad, but it's bad in certain areas. And I stay away from those areas. But I've been downtown by myself without a security guard. Downtown by myself without a security guard. You can go to a Democratic state. Try going to a no, Republican states are safe. You can't, you wouldn't even go to a Democrat state. You wouldn't go to a Democrat state because you know how dangerous it is. And you know you're lying to the people about you're just, you're not worth the time to go into. You're not a good person. You volunteered with Black Lives Matter. Black people out there, have you seen anything happen yet? Have you seen any money? As much money as they done came up with using our name? Have you seen any moolah yet? Into all those Democrat states, how dare you blind the people? Look how fast Mr. Gavin Newsom put his reconstruction or whatever it's called into place for redistricting the center, the state. What about reparations? Don't you know that it is not Trump's fault? Don't you know that each state, it can be done federally, it can be done statewide, it can be done per state. It's up to the states. So blame your governor. Blame your governor. Y'all having all these fucking meetings about reparations, and they're like slowing down. Well, we feel like we're going to take into account that we may give you reparations, but it's Trump who's keeping us from doing the reparations. It is up to the governor. He's skipping his feet on this subject because he wants to blame Trump. They all do. Only the governor can do a state legislator, they can go and they can put in a vote for that. It hasn't even came up. And I seen, you know, these people that get paid to talk junk about Trump that are Black come on and say and lie to the people and say it's Trump, the one. This is what disinformation does to Black people. I knew it was something wrong, so I looked it up on ChatGPT. So blame your governor. Because as far as we know, we might never see reparations. And I'm not going to fight for something like that when they are not, like, one Republican trying to put that into action. It's not going to happen. So I'll advocate for my Black people about it. This is a political stunt. Black Lives Matter was created by a board of gay people, of LGBT, should I say. They're getting funded, but no Black person has gotten funded except the heavy set Black person that's ahead of it. That's who Black Lives Matter. How does LGBTQ, sorry about the Q, how come they're ahead of something like the Black Lives Matter? Candace Owens did a video on it. They won't play it on YouTube. I think she did it on the guy who died, who got pushed on the neck, George Floyd. She did a segment on him, and she did a segment on Black Lives Matter movement. But that's like a Black person saying white lives matter, right? Hold on, pause. They're saying white lives matter, and they're African American, and they're taking the funds, and they're doing other things like funding different Doge. It needs to be Doged. If you're going to have a Black Lives Matter and make and run that if you're going to run and sit up there and fund Black Lives Matter, it's fundraising. If you're going to fund it, then do something for us. Do something for us. What have you done for us? Black Lives Matter. And the Black people some of them are naive because they don't know. Some Black people don't even have a television in the projects. Some don't write notes. Some don't watch TV but have a TV just to say they have a TV. Same with certain white people. So all they know is they hear briefly about Black Lives Matter and they say, oh, they're talking about us. Good, they got us in the news. And then they spray painted Black Lives Matter. Everywhere in Philadelphia is spray painted Black Lives Matter. Everywhere. On stuff that is history. Our history, guys. Our history. I wouldn't go to your house and spray paint anything. That's like spray painting a time capsule. It's just not right. So I just wanted to say that for a little bit. Um, some people are saying, so what out there? Those aren't the people for me. Some people are moving along and understanding where I'm coming from. And you got a bitter and sweet bunch, sour and sweet. Sour Patch Kids. First they're sour, then they're sweet. But this is just straight sour and sweet. My heart goes out to those who could have gotten money. The same thing with uh what is his name? He's not even important to me, but he's important. Um there are people out there that just use black people to sit up there and for gain. And it's this black guy. He has his own organization, NAACP. It seems like they only come to people that are beneficial to them. I've written the NAACP about everything that's ever happened to me, and I got no response. This was years ago. But if it ends up in the news, that they end up in the news every time with the best story, a juicy story. They're worried about the story and not about people's lives. It's always a juicy story. You know, once a person surpasses a certain point as a black person, they forget about where they come from. People like me will never forget where they fucking came from. That's what makes me unique. Everybody is unique in their own way, but I'm talking about myself. So unique. I've reached out to people like the NAACP. And it's sad and it hurts. If I had family backing me up, if I was on the news a little more, I think my name would have came out. They get to a certain point and they use the black people for their gain. They get funding for that shit. They get funded to take care of special cases. They get political coverage, they get TV coverage, they get funded. So please wake up. Things aren't the way they always seem to appear. So with that being said, I'm about to get off of here. Um, but I feel bad for people like the NAACP and Black Lives Matter. It's aimed for us to lose. It's aimed for people. Oh, he got shot. He's paralyzed. I come to you today because, preaching about that crap. There's a man who got shot and paralyzed. We need justice. How can one person, I can see it, but it's just not the way it happens. When are the states going to give reparations? I don't want, to be quite honest, you guys, I don't care for it. Because then, you have to think about when something is given to you, what is the cost for it? What are you going to do for that person? And I guess the Black people don't have nothing to give to these states that keep talking about it and blaming Trump because they keep talking about it. Do it. Do it. Just like a fight. Do it. Hit me. Don't sit up there and say you're going to hit me. Hit me. Don't sit up there and say you're going to execute something and it just be stalemate for 10 years. That's like luring you in. Luring you in. A hook. A catchphrase. The only thing we can do right now as Black people is advocate for ourselves. You can get a podcast. Get a podcast. Advocate. Especially in California. Especially in California.
Never waste my time.